Good day, guys. I am Borja from Bsit 2103, and for today's video, I am going to answer the activities here in chapter 10, and the first activity is entitled Application and Presentation, Protocols and Standards. The instructions is drag the appropriate protocol names and standards to the correct OSI and TCP or IP network locations. Each protocol and standard will be used once on the OSI model and once on the TCP or IP model. First, before I start the activity, I will explain the OSI model versus TCP or IP model. OSI is a reference model that describes the functions of a telecommunication or network system, while TCP or IP is a suite of communication protocols used to interconnect network devices on the internet. TCP or IP and OSI are the most broadly used network models for communication. The OSI and TCP or IP models have similarities and differences. The main similarity is in their construction, as both use layers, although the OSI model consists of 7 layers, while TCP or IP consists of just 4 layers. The OSI and TCP or IP models are similar in that they are logical models, define standards for networking, divide the network's communication process in layers, provide frameworks for creating and implementing networking standards and devices, enable one manufacturer to make devices and network components that can coexist and work with the device and components made by other manufacturers, divide complex functions into simpler components. And the differences between the OSI model and TCP or IP model include OSI has 7 layers while TCP or IP has 4 layers. OSI uses 3 layers, the application, presentation, and season, to define the functionality of upper layers, while TCP or IP uses just 1 layer or application. OSI uses 2 separate layers, the physical and data link, to define the functionality of the bottom layers, while TCP or IP uses 1 layer, and this is the link. And the last one is USI uses the network layer to define the routing standards and protocols, while TCP or IP uses the internet layer. So let's start. The OSI model. DHCPs include here, also the DNS, the IMAP, TFTP, where is it? We'll put it here, POP, and HTTP. Let's move on presentation. I think this is GIF, JPEG, and MPEG. And the application are all of these are, I think all of these are included here, TCP or IP model. Let's check. All of them are correct, so I will explain all of them. The GIF or graphics interchange format. The POP or point of presence. A point of presence is an artificial demarcation point or interface point between communicating entities. IMAP or Internet Message Access Protocol is a standard email protocol that stores email messages on a mail server but allows the end user to view and manipulate the messages as though they were stored locally on the end user's computing devices. TFTP or Trivial File Transfer Protocol is a simple lockstep file transfer protocol which allows a client to get a file from or put a file into a remote host. The JPEG or Joint Photographic Expert Group. It is a commonly used by digital cameras to store photos since it supports colors. MPEG or Moving Picture Expert Group is an organization that develops standards for encoding digital audio and video. DNS or the Domain Name System is a hierarchical and decentralized naming system for computers, services, or other resources connected to the internet or a private network. Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol or DHCP is a protocol for assigning dynamic IP addresses to device on a network. HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol is the underlying protocol used by the World Wide Web, and this protocol defines how messages are formatted and transmitted and what actions web servers and browsers should take in response to various commands. Since this is not an activity, but we will try the NSLOOKUP command. First, I will explain the NSLOOKUP command. When configuring a network device, once or more DNS server addresses are provided that DNS client can use for name resolution. Usually, the Internet Service Provider or ISP provides the addresses to use for the DNS servers. When a user's application requests to connect to a remote device by name, the requesting DNS client queries the name server to resolve the name to a numeric address. The DNS CLI command in Windows and Linux. From the Windows command prompt, enter the NSLOOKUP command to begin a manual query of the name servers. NSLOOKUP. Let's enter. Default server is unknown. Address is 10.10.10.1. The output lists the name and IP address of the DNS server configured in the client. Note that the DNS server address can be manually configured or dynamically learned through DHCP. You are now in NSLOOKUP mode. Enter the domain name www.cisco.com. Let's try. The www.cisco.com. Let's see what will happen. server e144.dhcv.akaIedge.net. The address is 2600, 1400, 11, 8590. The aliases www.cisco.com, and the output list, the www.cisco.com related IP address that the server E144 currently has in its database. Notice that IPv6 addresses are also listed. In addition, various aliases are shown that will resolve to www.cisco.com. Enter the xcisco command to leave the nslookup mode and return to Windows command line. We will put exit here. Enter nslookup www.google.com. nslookup www.google.com. You are now working from Linux command prompt. It is shown here. Then the nslookup command is the same. And I think this is already done. That's all for today, and thank you for watching.